Greetings, South Africans. My name is Ivan Tiso, and welcome to the Front Row Show right here on the Lifestyle Link. So today we are in Limpopo, invited by the National Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, where we are attending the opening of the 22nd Annual National Oral History Conference 2025. And of course, we are going to learn how the lived experiences of especially marginalized communities in South Africa are being preserved. And there are people that are coming from government, companies, CEOs, directors, and we're going to be talking to them just to get a deeper understanding of what also OHASA means. So I would like you guys to please stay put, don't go anywhere.
It is imperative to contribute to the development of young and upcoming oral history practitioners. What we know today comes from many encounters that mark the journey traveled. Wisdom and experience come less from scholarly pursuit and more from paths and roads that are forever under construction. Provincial chapters are entering this space to be ambassadors who mentor and spearhead a revolutionary change in the field of oral history, so that one can raise a hand and say, I know a similar journey. It happened to me. That is the essence of oral history and memory work. Deputy Minister, the history of this country has taught us to learn from the knowledge and thinking of pessimist champions who saw less good for the majority while praising the enlightenment brought by minority. Historiography has alerted us to the need to analyze and carefully examine the content and narrative of documented histories. When you read histories, you don't take it as it is. Sometimes you need to question who wrote this, on what perspective, and what is it trying to deliver to our communities. If we can ask those questions, that's where we'll be able to correct our histories. So that's why oral history is important. So colleagues, some of the papers to be presented in this conference will be in vernacular languages. We are no longer afraid to be ourselves and take pride in who we are. We are all here because of our love for heritage and history.
So beautiful South Africans, after all those speeches, after all those renditions, definitely you're so curious to know about OHASA. So standing next to me, it is the main man, the president of OHASA, to tell us about what is this organization all about and exactly the purpose that it serves within the industry. How are you, sir?
I'm good, and how are you?
I am so good. I love your suit. It is so neat. It shows that you're the president.
Thank you. You're making me shy now.
I didn't know that I can actually make you shy, but that's not the motive. But now we are here in Limpopo today, and obviously we are attending this beautiful conference. And OHASA is actually playing a major role. But if you could share maybe with the audience, what is OHASA all about and the purpose it serves?
Okay. OHASA is an organization that started in 2003. We called ourselves Oral History Organization of South Africa. The reason why this organization started, it was to mend the past imbalances in terms of our historiography. We realized that our history, it is one-sided. It's not covering other majority group of the South African community. So hence actually there was a need to establish the Oral History Association of South Africa. So our main objectives as the OHASA is to collect oral histories that are existing in our communities. Remember that our old people, they even pass on without their past experiences being documented or find a space in our historiography. Hence, actually, we felt that there are existing records that are much more important, that were never covered. Those records are in memory. You know, those are the records that you find in our elders. Those are records that you find in peoples with a particular experiences in different aspects of life. So that's why actually this organization is here to ensure that we are able to interviews different members of our communities with a very valuable knowledge that they are having, and then we record such knowledge, such information. Then after we have recorded that, it must find a space in our archival repositories. So that's why actually we are existing. And then looking at our archives, they are regarded as a space where old books are kept, and some of the archival material, they are not even relevant to your own community. If you go to archives and maybe are doing a research about your own communities, you hardly find information that is relevant in archives, or rather in libraries, to say. So that's why this organization is existing, is trying to mend and to cover those gaps to ensure that the people's history, they find space in different archival repositories, in different libraries, in different heritage institutions.
Well, President, thank you so much for talking to us. We're looking forward to this. I mean, I'm so very glad to be here today. I get to go to the Gala dinner as well.
Thank you very much. You are more than welcome. Don't forget him.
But to you, the viewer, not the cameraman. Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Okay, so stay tuned.
Oral history is very important because it may be used as the best tool to enhance our heritage in different form or medium, because with it we may rectify omissions and also correct the incorrect information as discovered in the archival custodies. Some archives, I think you will agree with me, especially those who are from the archive background, they are not necessarily complete, and some of the information may be incorrect. And with oral history, we are able to close those gaps. We are able to correct, we are able to fill the gaps where the information is not complete. And the reason we need a complete and correct archive is to ensure that we are able to support education, research, and public understanding. Because with the incorrect information, obviously, the understanding will be incorrect. And of course, the research will be misleading to the decision makers, and also the learning will be the other way around. So with this in mind, we are aiming to preserve proper society, cultural heritage, ensuring that future generations can learn from and understand their past properly without any doubt or missing information. I am encouraging everyone attending here to grab this opportunity with both hands, to expand your knowledge and skills and connect with other professionals and build your network. So the learning must not end here. As we interact, we need to also connect to each other for continuous interaction. So this must not be the end. And I have no doubt that the insight to be shared in this conference will be truly impactful, inspiring, and motivating to each of you. And I encourage everyone to actively and fully participate in the discussion.
So standing next to me, Ntate Marutangwako, who's the chairperson of the council in Limpopo. So just a disclaimer, it is pouring in Limpopo, and of course it's blessings, but never mind that. How are you, sir?
I'm good, how are you?
I am good. You know what, I feel so shocked standing next to you, but I also feel blessed, that I'm standing next to you. So as a chairperson of the council in Limpopo, attending this conference, how do you think this is going to benefit Limpopo?
Yeah, this is, I think, is a very great opportunity for everyone, different age, different gender, to understand the importance of history and particularly the archive. And also the other intention is to close the gaps which are there in our archive custodies, so that we can have a complete and correct information in our custodies that is not misleading when it comes to research, education, and also understanding of the general public.
So as part of the council, what is your involvement in this conference?
So in the conference, I'm just supporting as a host province because I'm a chairperson for the advisory council for archive in the province. Yes, and then the involvement, we were involved in different spheres, including the planning, because we had, as a council, a representative, Dr. Vuma. He was representing us in the local organizing committee. And yeah, I think a lot of things has been happening in the committee, and that's why this is a success today.
But as we were listening to the president of OHASA, I think he has explained how they are actually trying to archive, even the lived experiences of the marginalized communities. And we all understand that Limpopo has got so many villages, and I can assure you that there are so many unsung heroes in the area. So how do you think they can actually improve maybe their ways of doing it? Because definitely I am standing here and I feel like there's still more people that we need to hear about in Limpopo.
Yeah, I think one other thing which I realized as something that need to be improved is to try and decentralize the archive, because so that it's not difficult for the users to reach the information. Because if it's centralized, you can imagine how big is Limpopo as a province. Somebody traveling from Tabazimbi, for example, to Polokwane, looking for the information. So if they can establish something like community archive, like tribal and district archives, so the proximity will be at least reduced, so that reaching the information is not difficult. And also the information will come from the community themselves.
That is quite interesting, and thank you so much for sharing that. But we wish you all the best, so please do go and enjoy the conference.
No, thanks. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Moropao tla kere re nyaka go kwa olla moropao.
In 2018, we launched Volume 1, right? As I mentioned, the project started in 2014 under the leadership of Professor Sekiba Kiba Lekwati, who was the president of OHASA at the time, and with great leadership from Professor Christina Landman, who was in charge of publications. We got a copy ready in June 2018. And this copy then went to Finland via Dr. Seppo Molloy, who was the president of OHASA in 2018. In 2018, we had a 67 minutes for Tata Nelson Mandela, where we released the copies to authors in Glenash, KwaZulu-Natal. And you may ask, why did we do that? Well, at that stage, it was project based on fundraising issues, and most of the writers came from Durban and KwaZulu-Natal, so we decided to do that in KwaZulu-Natal.
So standing next to me, it is one of the members of the advisory committee, or the council rather. Please kindly say, introduce yourself, but I do know that you do have a very, very good name.
Yes, my name is Goodenough Masheo. I'm from the Oral History Association of Mpumalanga.
Wow. So as we were talking on stage, I am looking at you and I was like, this gentleman, he's got so much knowledge. He's oozing wisdom. And I'm just, I can't wait to speak to him. So please tell us about your position, especially in the council that you're actually representing in Mpumalanga. And what is your involvement in OHASA conference here today?
Okay, my involvement in Mpumalanga, I'm on the Oral History Association of Mpumalanga Executive. Together with other people in that province. So my role here at the Oral History Association of South Africa, I used to be in the editorial board of the organization. So at this point in time, I'm responsible for fundraising. I'm also for other programs related to the presenters that are going to be here today to look at who's going to be presenting the best paper, best research paper, in presenting in research and everything else. So I'm going to be responsible for that with other people to decide at the end of the day who's the one that's supposed to. If there's a award to get, who's going to get that award?
Yeah, so they must have chosen you because of your creative mind and the wisdom that you carry, right?
No, definitely, definitely. No, I cannot contest that point. Yes.
So let's talk about Ohasa and what it does. I'm just wondering, in Mpumalanga, where you come from, do you think what Ohasa is doing is necessary?
It is very necessary because look, right now in South Africa we talk about a country of 12 languages. But we all know that in the real sense, when you go on the ground, there are more languages. So what Ohasa is doing is really to remind us of who we were before the colony, which is not actually before apartheid, before the colony, not after apartheid, because there's always talk of post-apartheid, but we need to look at who were we before the colony, before the history that we have now, that's written down, history was written. So, because we are not a people who believe something is real when it's written, something is real when it's known, when the stories are being transferred. So in Mpumalanga, we've got different communities. We've got Amashangana are not Vatsonga of Limpopo, so they are different people. So it is through oral history that we are able to know. Amashangane, they were the people of Soshangane, they were people of Ngungunyane, they were people of Nzila. They come from KZN. So to say, okay, these ones are Amashanga. Now we've got Vatsonga in Limpopo. So that becomes quite important. It's oral history because that's history that's been carried through great-grandfathers to grandfathers to us today, and now it's up to us to maybe move it beyond being oral into writing it down, because the future is digital. We're talking about artificial intelligence, so we need to really digitize the knowledge that comes from way back.
But what do you think South Africans really don't know, especially the importance of this program? In order for us to be improved as a nation, number one, and number two, the 2020, the G20 summit is coming up, right? And obviously we are trying to sell Africa abroad. How do you think Ohasa should be participating in the program and really putting Africa in the map?
Look, I think Ohasa needs to first of all prioritize making us know who we are. Who are we? Because I think there's a bigger problem in understanding who we are. Because even today we are judging ourselves by the boundaries that have been drawn with a pen and a pencil. And we're forgetting that as African people, as black communities, as different communities, our borders were never a flat surface. There were always rivers, there were always mountains. That's why Kasipedi, Bari Pukube Atsila Muyedi Kimtana, Muyedi will actually define where the boundary is. So Ohasa needs to go back and really say to communities, because the smallest unit of every community is a family. Omangwena, just who are you? Once you are able to find who you are, you'll be surprised that five people down the line, you are actually related to the next person. So once we know our roots, you might find that your great actually was the so-called Zambian now. And that's now, the moment you find out that your great-grandfather was Zambian, that is actually going to start eroding. If you have got bad feelings about Zambians, you start feeling, in a way, I am also Zambian. So Ohasa must take the responsibility to make sure that we know who we are. Family tree must be the project that everybody does at home. Some people got their grandparents still living. When your grandparents are still living, use the opportunity to find out, get old letters. Old letters written, the pictures, behind the pictures there'll always be those little numbers that are written there. The moment we do that, we become a better society, because this whole xenophobic thing, this thing of blocking people entering clinics because they come from Zambia, they're not going to happen from Zimbabwe, children dying, because that might actually be your cousin. If you know yourself, that might be your cousin, yes.
Wow, that's a very, very good warning, honestly speaking. You're sharing very interesting information, and I'm so hoping that South Africans, you are learning. As Africans, we are one family. But thank you so much for talking to us. I look forward to your contribution, and I was hoping to be here maybe for longer, but I know that you're going to bring that money so that the program can improve.
It should. That should happen, yes. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Did you enjoy the conference, sir?
No, same to you.
kulila ndi munna oyo Africa yolila hey
Setšo segagešo bogologolo gae maropeng nna ke mo Africa I am an African when dawn comes a story of Africa would have already been told words will rise with the morning sun embracing the existence of human beings, enlightening Africans about Africa. People shall harvest fresh, fully fleshed fruits produced by God's creation. Men shall hunt and provide for their families, while women prepare meals for their children and teach them how to recite poetry in their mother tongue. Ke moshimane wa polokwane ke tla go tlatsa ka tlhakatlhakantšha sefala ka go makatša ba go ntse ba ka mantšu ba re ke kotsi ke tla go rata ke gotse magaeng ke diša dikgomo ke tsoga ka tee le molatša ke patša mašimo a matala gore le nna ke tle ke kgone go ikgantšha ke moswana noši o se ke wa nswantšha. Deep in the night, fire burning in the cycle of love, fire burning in the cycle of love, preaching indigenous knowledge to our children, breastfeeding a generation that speaks and dreams in their mother tongue. Identity lost its meaning. Black men, who are you? Tradition and culture faded. Religion, on the other hand, it is manipulated. Beauty is paraded. Unity, harmony, and peace are overrated. My Africa is divided. Mother Nature, we need your guidance for your people. Survive on minorities' dependence. Reclaim your oneness and occupy your land. Let the skin enjoy the genes of the African sand. Let our bare hands work day in and day out, cultivating the beauty of our land. Let's unchain our minds by removing borders that separate us from our families and friends. The rain summoned by the Queen resembles tears that waters the seeds to feed those who are in need. We bleed and grieve for those that paved the way for us to see a united Africa living together in peace. United we can mentor and breed a generation that leads, for tomorrow belongs to those that read. No one individual can achieve the African dream because it takes the elders' wisdom and the youth's energy to realize and win the African dream. From Cape to Cairo, howling from the mountain top, commemorating the queens and the kings that pioneered the great Africa that we see. Karipula, Pula.
Gentlemen, how are you?
I'm very much great, and I hope you are okay.
Mara why ha ke bolela Setswana wena o bolela Sekgowa? Aowa, o tshetse yang papa?
na ke a phela ona bothata shebe.
O bolela Sesotho mara bo Limpopo kutlwa ke nna confused. Go diragalang?
It's because jaanong o bua sona jaanong re a tlhakatlhakana le rena ya botse re phetse ya ona le mathata re thabile ka bo Limpopo.
So ke a bona gore ba le inviteile mone, and it's very beautiful. You can see that the venue is so full of people and we are learning so much today, but ke batla go itse gore na lona le ithutileng gompieno since le le mo.
Look, it's an oral oral conference, and for us as artists, it is to say that we tell our stories through our art, and our relevancy here, it is to say we are here to tell those stories through music and poetry. For instance, myself, I'm a writer, I write poetry, and here we're in Oraore. I am here to tell my stories and to form part of this beautiful event, and also learn, as you are saying, and also teach as well, because as artists, one of the mandates for that we have is to teach the society about art, about our history, about who we are, where we come from, through the art and through the music. Yes.
That is so beautiful. You know, but ho bantsi bana gana gore o hasa ha ba bua ka di unsung heroes ba bolela ka batho ba tshwetse, you know, to eno gore ba tswa go dintweng, you know, but they don't understand. So what is your view, what is your understanding about this program?
Now we'll speak ke tlo bolela too much ka kwa the setup jela di mpontse hore we are so creative ko Limpopo because they are ke bona Setsonga they did something nice about it and le nna yang attractor game so I ke nagana le motho o tswang kai a ka ra bona le ena I rata and it shows that we are very talented in Limpopo all in all.
A re bolele nnete ka gone re di-artist ba bua nnete ga go tloa go bua ka history ne and then o lekana le nneno le le bonjo ga ke consider ke le mo history ga ke re mara so but for the artists that are actually also thinking the same, I want you to educate them gore ohasa, this is what it means, especially for the creative arts industry. Now that you guys are artists and you do understand, so for those who would like to participate, le nagana gore ke step se seng se ene gore tshwantse ba se tseya?
Okay, I mean, look, for artists, remember, we are the, you know, we carry the rich history through our art. And in most cases, remember, art is broad. And in today's world, people are creating different type of arts for different types of audience. But with poetry, and Bumarimba, you know, group and musicals. It is to say that at the end of the day, a message must be said. You understand? I'm not saying that. I can remember, like I said, art is being done for different reasons. There is art for entertainment, there's art for edutainment and all those. So Arena, the kind of art that we do is to teach. That is through poetry, and then we infuse it with music. So it's musical poetry. So for other artists who are out there who will probably maybe say they would want to form part of, or maybe interested in performing in such kind of events, it is to say that they need to align themselves. You know, when I say alignment, I'm talking about content-wise. What are you talking about?
Do we fall under OHASA program?
We honestly follow. I mean, I'm a young artist, but it is to say that I understand the kind of art that I am doing. You understand? Because as you were listening to some of the speakers, Nebabulela about how in the olden days information and indigenous knowledge was shared to young people. It was around fire, campfire, where our grandmothers would tell these stories. That is poetry. That is what we are trying to do. It's just that obviously the world is dynamic and it's growing and it's changing. And then now we find new ways to still tell those stories, which is through poetry. We try to make it even more nicer and more appealing to the young people and even to the older people. That's why now we've got the infusion of marimba. That's where now you know it has that element of the new and the old, so everybody can relate. And I want to answer the question that you asked me before. You said why Kisabuleli spade? I'm an African, and everybody can. But in wonke umuntu melangizwe. If ngikhuluma ngesiZulu, ngizokhuluma ngesiZulu. If ngibua kaSetswana, ngizobua kaSetswana. Ngiyathetha kalokho. Mara as you can see, what I'm dressing is Chivenda. I'm a vendor man. Ndiyamanga Chivenda because in the Hayani, in the Limpopo, because ndiyamanga Chivenda. So these are some of the things that we try and push to the young people to also be. Remember, telling our stories has to also do with our home languages. So just to say that we need to be proud. We need to make sure that we write in our mother tongue. We need to dream in our mother tongue. We need to speak our mother tongue. So exactly, you've got it.
Well, Lebakwile, the artist Limpopo di Khalifile, akiti ko province nya gago, but we still go on, we still enjoy it. So stay tuned.
I'm inspired by the work done by archivists, oral historians, memory activists, educators, and cultural practitioners in preserving the lived experience of our people. Oral history is not just a storytelling. It is the preservation of identity. It is the preservation of memory. It is the preservation of dignity and truth. Risaili ona balimung rena ba khale wa hlokagala gore the generation to come must know where we come from, and ke rena ba re tsebang this history ba o santse gore re record because no any other person is going to do that. This conversation are more relevant than ever. as we seek not only to document history, but to learn from it and to teach through it. Because once you learn from history, you will develop spirit of patriotism. You will be jealous of your country. You will make sure that in whatever space where you have been given an opportunity to lead, you will defend the country based on the history that you correctly know. Our country has got very serious challenges. It's a fact. I'm one person who say it as it is. We've got very, very serious challenges, and it is for us who knows the history, who must stand up and provide the necessary guidance under this type of challenges. Because it will collapse. And we are everything, but everyone is for himself or herself. It is our responsibility, those who understand the history of our country, to stand up and correct the wrongs that are happening in the country. Because once we are all going to collapse.
We in the Eastern Cape, we acknowledge the role played in preserving our collective memories. We have got so many collective memories that we have done as a nation. If I can just outline one, the collective memory that we have tried to establish by bringing the head of King Inza, the Sarah Batmans, and by taking our comrades from our African countries that have played a part in their liberations. Now, the message of support that I've given from the Eastern Cape was that we acknowledged the role of the collective memories. It goes as follows. We also adhere and accept as Eastern Cape that we are an active structure that have managed to work hand in hand with the National Oral History Association.
So, ladies and gentlemen, standing next to me is the chairperson of the Eastern Cape OHASA. Am I right?
Eastern Cape Oral History Association.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
in abbreviation, it's the HOACA. Yes, I'm Date Fikile Josie. Yeah, from the Eastern Cape, representing the Eastern Cape Oral History Association, which was launched in 2022, working hand in hand with the provincial archives. Yeah, our responsibility as a chapter is to archive the stories, to unleash the programs, to work with the Department of Education, especially on the oral history programs, so that it should start at the lowest level. Yeah.
How exactly are you unrolling the program within the Eastern Cape? Because we understand that as the president was speaking, he sort of like briefly took us through how they are doing it. But I so believe that each and every province, they've got their way of trying to archive all these stories, their way of reaching out to the people that have actually have made history. So I'm interested to know, in your province, how are you leading this ship and how are you doing it?
Thank you so much for this question. You know what, it was not easy for us as Eastern Cape. One important thing is that Eastern Cape is a vast, huge rural area. So it's very difficult sometimes to reach in some of the marginalized area. But what we did, we concentrated on the marginalized and the organic people to have them their stories like told. Because we already have the famous stories that of the prominent people. Now, the challenge that we have is that we are working under the stringent budget with the archives. So we need to work now as a collaborative with taking some stakeholders, using the learners, using the community leaders, using the officials from the DBE, that is education where I am, and also using the archives person. So those programs, we do them according to districts. So we've got 9 districts. We do them according to districts so that we'll be able to have each and every district representing its stories.
So as the person who also takes the role of the treasurer, do you think this program is actually getting enough support that it's supposed to get? Because you are saying that there's quite a number of challenges. And I'm not too sure if people that are not really knowledgeable about OHASA, are they really paying more attention? Are they very keen to also support it financially?
Yeah, it is really a challenging aspect, because people, first of all, they tend to be involved in the program where there is financial arm. So if there's no financial arm, people will go there and volunteer. People just say, oh, no, won't pay attention. But we've got the program of advocating. What is it actually, the oral history? What its purpose? What its goals and objectives? So bit by bit, when we're starting to implement in schools, in communities, because whatever platform that we have, we make sure that we touch the advocacy of oral history and the purpose and objectives. We are the province of legends. So we need to sustain and maintain that, so that there will be no oral erosion that is left to our kids. We need a generation that will know. So the business people, if they can inject to this, we think we can be on a safe side.
I think South Africa has heard you, but thank you so much for talking to us. So hopefully you will come and support this, because it's very important, not just for us, but also for the generation to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
ke moetapele yo a tšetšego ka pelo ya tirelo go tloga diphapošing tša dipalamente go fitlha godimo ga setšhaba o sepetše ka maikemišetšo mohuta le maemong a bophelo ka lerato le boineelo o etile tsela mo ditabeng tša setšo botaki gape le dipapadi boitlamo bja gago yentši ke lesedi le le tlhatlhago le phadima le tlhotlheletša botlhe bošegong bo bo fifetšego ke a leboga.
The golden rhinoceros and the Chinese porcelain unearthed at Mapungubwe stand as proof that long before colonialism, our ancestors built civilizations and traded with the world. In Musina, the archaeological evidence of advanced African metallurgical demonstrates the indigeneity and creativity and shaped African societies for centuries. Limpopo is also home to some of the oldest archaeological and paleontological sites, making it quite literally a cradle of humankind, the real cradle of humankind, not the one that is discovered and that cannot be attested for, but the history of Limpopo, it defines it as the real human origin. But it is not only ancient history that defines this province, it is also the more recent and still unfolding stories of struggle, resistance, and victory. The Makapanstad caves, for instance, are not just natural formations. They are sites of memory and resistance, echoing the defiance of our ancestors in the face of colonial invasion.
ge re tšwela pele go šireletša maleme a borena, re tšwela pele go šireletša dinonwane tše be re di humana go tšwa go bomagolokhukhu ba rena, ke ge re tla ba re tšea teu re ifošetšago ba baswa bjale ka ge le mpona le nna gore ke sa le o monanana, re tšea ditaba tše ka maatla, re di tšea ka bokgware bjo e le gore di filwe ka bjona, mme re tla tsamaya le tšona. Ke rata go leboga di-artist tša rena bao ba re tšwetšego pele gore fa tša botaki ka bokgware le botswerere, ke kgopela re ba betheleng matsogo. Gaddafi the poet wa ba wa nkgopotša Mokgalabe ka gore le nna ke o mongwe wa di-artist, wa nkgopotša fao ke tšwago gona kua ga Mmamabolo a Solwana sa Mmatala di sekgopa banna matolo phoofolo tša mesela ba rego ba ga Mmamabolo re alla se buduša ka letšatši mola bangwe ba buduša ka pula. Ke re na ba bommatswapo mologadi ba re sefolofolo ga thaba pela tša thaba di a ota ge e tša fase di itea mphoka. Ke tebela Ramokgopa le Pulane skokotela ka tšotša legware mathaka ile digolwa ke mokwena mokamoketše kwena moroka metsi a pula motheane mothalebeta sila go fenywa. Gore yalo motsamaiši wa modiro ntumelele ke leboge babina diphoofolo ka moka tša bokubu le bokwena tša go akalala lefaufaung bokanong diphoofolo ka moka gore yalo ke re phya diata ke a le leboga legatong la pušo selegae ya Polokwane yeo e etilego pele ke Mera Petiši Khansela Mosema Makoro Jone Mpe o re pula e le nele ka moka ga lena. Ke boe ke re malaedi ka laela kgale ka tšeapata ka sepela ka ekela gae bolobedi bolobathaga ga bo metsi mašwana metsi mafologa thaba ka diphororo ke ile ta dira thaboele marung ge e tša fase o di bone go rata motho a se go thwa godimo ga ona magagešo.
So beautiful South Africans, we all know that it is always a joy when you are surrounded by your family. So standing next to me, it is the biggest family coming all the way from KZN. They represent Ohasa obviously in the province. And I'm standing next to the chairperson, Ntate Khuzwayo. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm okay, and how are you?
I'm so blessed to be here. So please tell us about KZN Ohasa. What has been your contribution thus far, and what do you think about today's conference?
No, it's a beautiful conference. We are 22 years old with Ohasa. Yeah. We had always been here. Yeah. It's only that we delayed. We've been strategically delaying to set up the provincial chapter. Yeah. Then this year, through our secretary, we were able to set it up. Yeah. So we are there. We are supportive and also even contributing to the content a lot, into the terms of the content that is being published. It says papers that we have delegates who are coming in to do their papers, present their papers through the session.
Yeah. As a citizen, I always hold the leadership accountable for everything that they do. But I think I'm interested, in terms of the South Africans that are watching as well. Uguti, chairperson of KZN, Ohasa, what have you done so far to advance the program in your province?
No, at the provincial level, relationships are there and are very good. We have a social compact that encourages oral history in terms of in our tradition, in our province. It's a tradition. Oral history is a tradition. You can ask anybody; they will give you a story of their life, in terms of their family poetry, in terms of their Takazelo. We are harvesting content that is there. So they are programs that we are running. One center in Bopomeni, and there is also a very interesting community, which is dominantly white in the Showe, and they are doing sessions every month, a lecture session every month. We are supporting them also. We also even send our activists to participate in terms of presenting the paper in that session. So, and also there are museums also in the province that we are rewriting the scripts. we are rewriting the script of those museums because ancient museums still reflects the apartheid era narrative. But in the province, we are very active in reviewing the script and also rewriting the new script. Yeah.